Have you ever felt the soul-wrenching confusion of loving someone who seems to vanish without warning, only to still feel them lingering in your energy? One moment, he's fully there, open, loving, and aligned with your heart. The next, he's cold, distant, and emotionally unreachable. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. And yet, something in you still feels him. His energy clings to your aura like a whisper that never left. He haunts your dreams, your intuition, your very breath. You know this connection is real. But why does it feel like he's both gone and still holding on? In today's video, we're diving deep beneath the surface of this haunting experience. This isn't about guessing his intentions or decoding mixed signals. It's about uncovering the spiritual truth of what's happening behind the silence. We'll explore why the divine masculine retreats while still energetically clinging to your soul. We'll help you understand the hidden reasons he disappears from the physical while remaining spiritually tethered to you. By looking through the lens of the soul, not just the ego, you'll begin to see the deeper orchestration behind this paradox of presence and absence. By the end of this video, you'll no longer feel powerless or confused in the face of his silence. You'll walk away with clarity, strength, and a profound understanding of your own energy and intuition. You'll recognize the truth of your connection, and you'll learn how to navigate this soul bond with empowerment rather than pain. If you've ever questioned your own sanity or felt stuck in a cycle of spiritual limbo, today's video will offer the breakthrough your heart has been silently craving. So, stay with us until the very end, because the answers you seek are not just coming, they are already echoing through your soul. Number 1. Spiritually overwhelmed and emotionally awakened. When the divine masculine begins to pull away, it's easy to assume it's because he doesn't care. But the truth is far more complex and deeply spiritual. He isn't retreating due to apathy, he's withdrawing because he's overwhelmed. Meeting you wasn't just a romantic experience, it was an energetic collision. Your presence did something profound. It shook him awake. Not gently, but powerfully, like lightning striking the dormant roots of his soul. Something ancient, buried deep within him, stirred the moment your souls touched. And what he felt wasn't just affection or admiration. It was recognition. On a soul level, he remembered you, and that memory frightened him. The twin flame connection is not ordinary love. It is intense, all-consuming, and deeply catalytic. It breaks down walls, exposes hidden wounds, and demands truth. When he looked at you, he didn't just see beauty, he saw a mirror, one that reflected his deepest fears, his unresolved trauma, his inner child's wounds, and the parts of himself he's tried to suppress or escape. In your light, he saw his shadow. In your love, he felt his shame, unworthiness, and guilt surface, all at once. And for someone who has never learned how to hold their own emotional depth, this awakening is terrifying. To a soul unprepared for divine love, your presence feels like too much. It's not because you're too much, but because your light exposes everything he's tried so hard to avoid. And so, he runs, he disconnects, he ghosts. He may block your messages, ignore your presence, or vanish from your world. But that doesn't mean the connection is broken. Energy doesn't lie, and souls don't forget. Even in his silence, he is still there. On a soul level, he remains energetically tethered to you. He checks into your aura like a lost traveler, seeking warmth from a familiar fire, comforted by your light, even if he doesn't have the courage to step fully into it. You may feel his presence in moments of quiet. You may dream of him, sense his energy watching, or feel sudden waves of emotion that are not your own. This isn't your imagination, it's resonance. But this is where your strength and clarity must shine through. You were not born to chase, you were born to embody. Do not dim your radiance to make him feel more comfortable in his darkness. Do not shrink yourself to ease his fear of expansion. Your light is not the problem. His wounds are simply not ready to be healed yet. Stand tall in your glow. Continue your path of self-love and divine purpose. Trust that your presence has already planted a seed in his soul. When he is ready, he will rise. Until then, hold your light steady, not for him, but for yourself. Because your love was never meant to be small, it was meant to awaken. Before we move on, take a moment to breathe and truly feel the depth of what we've just explored. If you've ever experienced this kind of spiritual intensity, the pull of someone's energy despite their physical absence, you are not alone. This journey can be confusing, painful, and breathtakingly beautiful all at once. We'd love to hear your story. Have you felt this energetic connection lingering even when words and actions fall silent? Share your thoughts in the comments or simply type, "His soul still feels me," as an affirmation that you're not imagining the connection, you're spiritually aware of it. Your voice matters, and your truth could be the light someone else needs right now. Number 2. The battle between ego and soul. Why he keeps pulling away. One of the most profound reasons the divine masculine pulls away is rooted in an invisible war, one waged silently within him between the ego and the soul. At the center of this battle is control. The ego thrives on predictability, logic, and maintaining a carefully crafted identity. It wants to know what's coming next, to label experiences, to define and categorize emotions. And then you came along, a connection so vast, so electric, and so unexplainable that it dismantled all sense of order. The twin flame bond doesn't fit into a neat box. It doesn't play by rules. It disrupts everything the ego clings to for safety. For a man who has built his life on structure, perhaps through career, reason, or emotional self-sufficiency, your presence is both captivating and terrifying. You awaken something he cannot control, something that defies explanation. And so, his ego panics. It retreats. He begins to act indifferent. He may ghost you, avoid your gaze, pretend like nothing ever happened. But this isn't because he doesn't care. It's a defense mechanism, a way for the ego to regain a sense of power over something it simply cannot dominate. Yet despite all outward appearances, his soul is very much alive in the connection. And the soul does not forget. It watches from the shadows. That's why he lingers in your energetic field. Why he watches your social media stories late at night. Why he goes back to your old photos when he thinks no one is watching. Why he keeps appearing in your dreams, uninvited but always familiar. These are not coincidences. These are signals from his soul, attempting to reconnect with you in the only ways it knows how, without risking the ego's illusion of control. He may never say the words out loud. He may not even fully understand what he's feeling. But deep down, he knows. He feels you in his quiet moments. He senses the shift in the air when you think of him. He is not as detached as he appears. What you're witnessing is not rejection, but resistance. A tug of war between the part of him that longs for safety and the part of him that longs for you. Until he learns to surrender the illusion of control, until he finds the courage to follow his heart instead of his fear, he will continue to hover in your orbit. Close enough to feel your warmth, but still too afraid to come home. Number 3. Testing love through silence. Why he watches from afar. There's a quiet test unfolding behind the silence. A test he may never admit he's giving, even to himself. It's not a game, and it's not meant to hurt you. Rather, it stems from a deep, unresolved insecurity that lives within him. You see, he doesn't fully trust the love you offered, not because you failed to give it, but because he's still learning how to receive it. He hasn't yet developed the inner foundation to believe that something so pure, so unconditional, could truly be meant for him. In the depths of his silence, a question loops in his mind. If I disappear, will she still be there? That question doesn't come from a place of manipulation, but from fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of unworthiness, fear of being forgotten by the one person who made him feel seen. And so, he vanishes, not to punish you, but to protect himself. He steps back and watches, not knowing that his withdrawal speaks louder than words ever could. You feel his energy linger like a shadow on your skin, a gentle pressure in your chest when you least expect it. He checks in from the background, not to control, but to soothe his fear of being left behind. It's not an intentional test, but it becomes one. He watches to see if you'll wait, hoping your presence might reassure him that love doesn't leave. Yet here lies the paradox. If you stay still, he has no reason to grow. If you remain in place, he never has to confront his own stagnation. Sometimes, the most powerful thing the divine feminine can do is walk forward, not in anger, but in power. Not to provoke a chase, but to inspire remembrance. Your strength, your healing, your radiance. It all becomes a mirror, reflecting the man he's capable of becoming. When you choose growth, when you expand regardless of his presence, you create an invitation for him to rise. Your light calls to his, not with force, but with grace. So, if you feel him near but not stepping forward, don't freeze, don't shrink. Keep moving, keep becoming, keep glowing in your truth. Because in the end, your evolution may be the very thing that awakens his own. Number 4, the fear of losing himself in you. Beneath the silence of the divine masculine lies a fear that runs deeper than most realize, a fear not of you, but of losing himself in you. For years, he has carefully built his identity around external structures. His career, his social standing, his achievements, and the beliefs he's clung to for safety. These things have defined his sense of control, his place in the world, and his understanding of who he is. But then you arrived, not as a threat, but as a mirror. You looked past the surface, past the masks and armor, and saw the truth of him. You saw his softness, his fears, his wounds, and most terrifying of all, his soul. This kind of recognition is both magnetic and terrifying. Because when someone truly sees you, there's nowhere left to hide. The divine masculine fears that if he opens fully to this connection, if he allows himself to surrender to the depth of love he feels for you, he will dissolve. His carefully constructed identity will shatter, and with it, the illusion of control he's worked so hard to maintain. To the ego, this feels like death. And so, in an act of self-preservation, he pulls away. He retreats, hoping to hold on to what he believes is keeping him safe, his independence, his control, his sense of self. But here's the beautiful irony. What he thinks he's losing is only the mask. What he's actually being invited into is authenticity, wholeness, truth. His soul knows this. Even as his mind resists, even as he tries to distance himself, his spirit continues reaching for you. The energetic connection does not break. It only becomes more poignant, more undeniable. He may avoid eye contact, ignore your messages, or act like nothing ever happened, but on a soul level, he's still listening, still watching, still longing. In moments like these, it can be tempting to chase him, to fix him, or to prove the safety of your love. But you don't need to do any of that. Your role is not to be his rescuer, it's to be his reflection. Be the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. Stand tall in your own truth. Hold your own light. When he's ready to stop running from himself, when he's brave enough to step beyond fear and into vulnerability, he will find his way back, not just to you, but to himself. Because in the end, the twin flame journey is not about losing oneself in another. It's about finding oneself through love. And when he stops fearing his own depth, he'll finally understand that your connection never asked him to disappear. It asked him to be real, to be free, to be whole. If you've made it this far, it means a part of you resonates deeply with this truth, and that matters. This journey isn't easy, and your heart's endurance speaks volumes about your strength and capacity to love. Take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt someone pulling away not because they didn't care, but because they were overwhelmed by how deeply you saw them? We'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Your voice might just be the light someone else needs today. Or, if you're not ready to share just yet, simply type, "I am the lighthouse, not the lifeboat," as an affirmation of your strength, your self-worth, and your unwavering light. Number 5. Finding solace in your energy. Even in the silence, even in his distance, he is drawn to your energy like a weary traveler to the warmth of a fire. You might not hear from him, but that doesn't mean you've left his heart or mind. What you bring into his life isn't just affection, it's a sense of peace he rarely finds anywhere else. Your energy calms his inner storms. It softens the edge of his fears, eases the tension in his chest, and allows his nervous system to relax in a way that feels rare and unfamiliar. Simply put, you feel like home, not because you're perfect, but because you radiate the light of authenticity, of soul-level connection. And while that light draws him in, it also terrifies him. It's important to understand, his disappearing act is not rooted in disinterest or rejection. It stems from something deeper, something older. Your presence stirs up every truth he's buried, every shadow he's tried to outrun. The safety he feels around you exposes the danger he feels within himself. And because he hasn't yet made peace with his inner world, he fears bringing that chaos into your life. He doesn't want you to witness his unraveling, doesn't want to hand you the weight of his confusion or shame. So, in a move of self-protection, masquerading as silence, he retreats. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much to let you see him lost. In his mind, he tells himself, "I'll come back when I've figured myself out." He believes he can grow in isolation, find clarity in the dark, and return to you whole. But what he doesn't realize is that even in your absence, he is still tethered to your light. From afar, he feels your expansion. He senses your growth, your glow, your rise, and it both inspires and haunts him. He clings to the memory of how he felt when he was in your presence. Not to take anything from you, but to remember the version of himself that you awakened, the one who could breathe deeper, love braver, and see beyond his limitations. That's why he never fully lets go, why he lingers in the in-between, not quite present, yet never truly gone. He stands on the edge of his own healing, torn between the safety of your energy and the fear of being truly seen. And in this quiet space between fear and longing, he watches, waiting. Not for the right time, but for the courage to return, not just to you, but to the version of himself that he became when bathed in your light. Imagine a man named Daniel, someone who has spent most of his life keeping his emotions tightly guarded. He's successful on the outside, composed and in control. But deep within, he carries wounds he's never dared to examine, memories of rejection, the weight of not feeling good enough, and a silent fear that if anyone saw the real him, they'd leave. Then he meets her, not just anyone, but someone whose energy disarms him without even trying. Her laughter eases the tension he didn't realize he was holding. Her presence doesn't demand anything, it simply allows. Around her, His walls don't need to be up, and for the first time in years, he breathes without effort. But this emotional safety also awakens everything he's tried to forget. She makes him feel seen, not just admired. And that kind of intimacy is overwhelming for someone who's only ever survived by hiding. So, he pulls back, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares so deeply that he fears messing it up. He disappears into silence, thinking he needs to fix himself before he can come back. And yet, in her absence, he still feels her light, guiding him, reminding him, healing him. She becomes his anchor, even from afar. It's not about obsession or attachment, it's about recognition, the soul-level realization that she is the mirror reflecting the man he's always been too afraid to become. If you've made it this far, it means your heart is seeking truth, healing, and meaning within the fire of your twin flame journey. And perhaps you've cried in silence, felt abandoned in the presence of a soul who once felt like home, and questioned the very essence of your connection. But let this closing message anchor you. You are not lost, and this path is not in vain. His silence, as maddening as it feels, is not a rejection. It's his soul's way of trying to hold a love it never knew it was worthy of. When someone has never met their own soul, being truly seen by yours can feel like both a blessing and a storm. That's not your fault. That's his awakening. Yes, the waiting hurts. The energetic push and pull, the lingering presence, the sudden absence, it all leaves your heart torn between hope and surrender. But here's the deeper truth. This isn't about waiting for his return. It's about your return, to your essence, your joy, your divine self. You were never meant to pause your becoming while he finds his way. This journey, while deeply intertwined with his, was always about you, your light, your strength, your soul rising from the ache with grace. So don't wait in stillness. Live in expansion. Let your laughter echo again, not as a distraction, but as a declaration that your spirit was made to bloom even through heartbreak. Let your days be filled with purpose, your nights wrapped in peace. When he's ready, truly ready, he won't come back out of confusion or loneliness. He'll come back from clarity, from knowing, from remembering the light he first saw in your eyes that mirrored his own soul. And if he never does, it doesn't mean the love wasn't real. It means the universe had an even greater love planned, the one between you and your truest self. That reunion is sacred. That wholeness is unstoppable. You were never waiting for him, you were walking yourself home, and you're already on your way. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to affirm your journey by commenting below, "I am not waiting. I am becoming." Don't forget to like this video if it resonated, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and keep exploring your path by watching the next video below. Your soul knows the way, and you, beautiful one, are already returning to yourself.